Welcome to the Value Stuff Podcast. I am your host, Daniel Glazier. I am a certified personal property appraiser and I value stuff for a living. Thank you so much for listening. Today, I want to talk about death cleaning. It sounds like a very morbid subject, but it's not. Before we get going, please like, subscribe, and share so we can keep growing this podcast. So death cleaning, what is death cleaning? It's a term that actually originates in Sweden, and they have an actual word for it called städning. And what does death cleaning mean? I'll briefly explain it. It's a Swedish tradition of decluttering later in life to reduce the burdens on loved ones. So basically what it means is you deal with all your stuff that you have and all your crap that you have before you die. So then after you die, you're leaving way less stress and burden on your children. I could tell you story after story how people are very upset. I see it emotionally in their eyes, stressed out. They're dealing with loved one's estate. They could be, whether the executor or just beneficiaries or children, they're stressed out because there's just too much stuff. They're overwhelmed. There's been very little planning or no planning, and they don't know what to do with it all. They just, do we throw it at a landfill, the garbage? Do we recycle? Do we give it away? Do we sell it? They don't know. They're very stressed and overwhelmed. Most of this doesn't have to happen. It really is selfish if we don't deal with our stuff while we're alive. So after we die, our kids aren't stuck or burdened with all our stuff. There's a lady that wrote this fantastic book. It's called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. I just read it cover to cover in less than 2 days. Her name is Margarita Magnusson. She's from Sweden. And she really breaks down how to do death cleaning and talks about how she did it and her process. And she says it in there. If we don't deal with our stuff while we're alive and leave it for our kids to deal with or our family, it's very selfish. She also says that the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning, it's about love. I'm going to explain a little bit how it works. I love the concept. I've been doing some keynote speaking and I'm writing a book. And my whole premise is basically how you should be dealing with your stuff before you die. So after you die, it's not such a mess for your kids. It's exactly what Swedish death cleaning is, but they call it, there's an art to how you do Swedish death cleaning, and I'll explain that a little bit. It's, this book's been recommended to me several times. I've watched YouTube videos and I've listened to podcasts on it. You really do need to actually read it. If some people aren't into reading, you listen to the full thing. You could listen to it on Audible or a Kindle. I highly, highly recommend it because it resonates with me as an appraiser. I just see too much of this, including myself. We all have too much stuff. I don't want my kids to have to deal with all my stuff. There's going to be some stuff because I'm not a minimalist. I don't believe in being a minimalist unless that's your thing. We have to start now. If you're listening to this, start now. Start Swedish death cleaning and I'll explain how it works. It's very simple. You don't look at your whole house and everything you own and go, oh my God, I got to get rid of everything. I got too much stuff, because that is very overwhelming. And that happens to a lot of us. You start small. That's how death cleaning, that's how it works, is you start small. You figure out how you're going to do it, but you just got to do this thing in a bit of a systematic order. She suggests you start like in a closet. You look at all the coats you have in there. Maybe you have a bunch of shirts in there. You just have a bunch of stuff in there. And you go through them. Do I still want this? Do I still need this? Do I still wear this? And she actually uses as an example how there's a lot of stuff she got rid of, but then she came to this kind of funky coat. And she had worn it a long time. She loved it. Made her feel good. So she's like, I'm keeping it. So this isn't about minimalizing. It's about decluttering and getting rid of the stuff that doesn't serve us anymore and is definitely not going to serve our children or our loved ones. Start small. Her death cleaning, she talked about how she did it. She did it over 2 years. This isn't something you do over a weekend or I got a month to do this. If you pass, guess what? Your kids probably only have a weekend or a couple of weeks to get rid of all your stuff. There's going to be a lot of great stuff that ends up in landfills or just valuable stuff that's donated, that's because you haven't dealt with it. And that would probably break all our hearts. The whole point of this is you're going through your whole house. You start small, and then as you go on, you tackle things as they come along. I read the book, and it inspired me. And I've started it. I've started my own Swedish death cleaning. I've got this garage that's been overwhelming me for so long. And the reason it overwhelms me is there's just so much stuff in there. And I know better. This is what I deal with. I have too much stuff and I have to get rid of it. And part of it is there was a move involved that closed a business down. And a lot of that stuff ended up in my garage. It's time to deal with it, because if I pass on, then my family's got to deal with it. That's not right. They don't need to deal with that stuff. I had 6 storage bins of painting supplies. Why do I have 6 bins of painting supplies? I don't even like painting anymore. Before, I never minded painting. I used to paint my whole house or paint a room. Now I don't want to paint anymore. It's hard on my shoulders. It takes a long time. I'm a bit messy at it because I don't do it professionally. And if I hire a professional, which I have, they do it. What takes me weeks, they do it a day or two. So I don't need 6 bins of painting supplies. So that's what I did. Went through it. I kept some really good brushes I had, a few rollers, and it went down to 1 bin. Went from 6 bins to 1 bin. You know how much space that created? And now that's motivated me. Next, I'm going to tackle my tools. I have way too many tools. I bet you I have 20 flathead screwdrivers. What do I need? 3, 4? And it goes on with everything else. I seem to have multiples of everything, like 7 sanders and saws. And it's more like, oh, I can't let that go because this costs this, or I might need this. I don't need it all. I do not need it all. I've done the painting supplies. Next, I'm going to do the tools. And I'm going to slowly do all this. But I bet you in a couple months or less, that garage is going to be the way I want it, the way I've always wanted it. And it's because I'm doing it a gentle way. I'm doing it for 2 reasons. The main reason is I don't want my kids to have to deal with all that stuff. That's the number 1 reason, because I see that time and time again and the stress it causes. And number 2 is it helps me. This whole Swedish death cleaning, it helps me. So in the book here by Margarita, she talks about that. The byproduct of this, you're doing this for love, because your whole point is you're doing it for your children. So your children don't have to deal with all your crap and all your stuff after you die. But as you do this, it becomes freeing for yourself. I saw it, and I can't actually wait to get rid of a bunch of my tools. It's like crazy. Like before I could never, but my mindset has shifted, and we have to shift that. We have to do that. It's a perfect opportunity to talk to your children. I might say to my children, do you want any of these tools? I'm not going to make the mistake of, she talks about that too, where you give things away and now you're creating a burden for someone else. No, if it's something somebody wants and they could use, here you go. And she talks about start with your family and then start with your friends. See, is there anything in here that you want before I donate it? It's a great practice, and you're doing this for love. Another thing too, you might have some valuable stuff. So this is where, maybe hire an appraiser to come in. She talks about that, which I love too. She talks about when she was deciding that after doing it, some of the smaller stuff, and she was going more of a bigger scale, she called it an evaluator. Which is an appraiser. She called it an appraiser in to let her know the things that had value and things that didn't have value. That was perfect. That should be part of the plan. The whole plan, the whole thing here, the whole Swedish death cleaning it's about love. You're dealing with your stuff before you pass. So after you pass, your kids don't have to deal with all your stuff. You're going to have some stuff left, but at least it's not this burden. You could start making a plan. Even if you're going to keep your stuff, you could still you'll talk to her children and say, who wants this? Who likes this? And you'll be able to also identify stuff that could be problems. Say you have a gold watch. You only have 1 gold watch with 3 children. well, probably all going to want that watch. So now you're going to make a plan for that watch. This this watch is going to go to X. The Swedish death cleaning is you start, and she suggests, Margarita, that you start when you're maybe in your 60s, 70s now. I'm 50. I'm going to be 57 soon. I think you start your 30s, 40s, 50s, you start paying attention to how much stuff you have, and something was to happen to you, the problems that it could cause. So that's Swedish death cleaning. It's about love. I hope this helps. It's about decluttering, but it's about love, and it's a great book, Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, share. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Dan Glazier, the Value Stuff Podcast.